I want to talk a little bit more. I want to share some stories about this media providing cover for Hunter, because some of the stuff that happened this weekend, looking at stories this weekend, I was really fascinated at how much the mainstream media was willing to go to bat to protect us from believing anything about the emails, and really trying to protect Hunter Biden slash Joe Biden. So let me pull this up. Let me just show you. I'm going to show you a couple stories. First, let's just take a look at, for context, let's take a look at China, because this also kind of came out. People started talking about this over the weekend. I don't know if you noticed this, but the hard drive containing emails about what looks like some sort of joint venture with CEFC, which was a China energy company, which is now dead. And the proposal was to have Hunter Biden be maybe a chair or a vice chair, and they talked about dividing up equity. They're saying here's what the salaries would be. I guess 850, presumably K, Hunter would get here. But then they talked about how the equity would be provided. And this is the interesting part to me. 20% to Hunter, 10% held by Hunter for the big guy. Who in Hunter's life might he hold shares for that would be referred to as a big guy? I guess it's a stretch to suggest it might be his dad, Joe Biden, who was vice president of the United States. Now, something you have to understand here. Look, companies do this crap. There is always a lot of nepotism and crap going on in business. I don't like it, but it's not illegal. There's a lot of that stuff going on. However, when you deal with China, and I don't know that everyone understands this, because probably not a lot of people have done any international business. Any large company in China you're not dealing with just the company. It is the government. There's Communist Party members who have appointments at the company by mandate, like they must. The line between private business and government entity in China becomes blurry and then non-existent, basically, the larger a company gets. So it's not like this is happening like, oh, Hunter was in some other country and there was a private company and he was going to set something up with this energy company there and his dad was going to get stock, which is weird enough given that his dad was vice president at the time and maybe having negotiations with and talking to that country's heads of state. In fact, Joe Biden brags about how much time he spent with Xi. So, no one spent as much time with Xi as I have. I've been dinner with Xi multiple times, just the two of us, except and an interpreter. I mean, Biden's been bragging about his relationship with Xi. So here's Hunter in China setting up a business deal with a Chinese energy company, which by definition is at least partly state-run and owned company. That's how they work. And funded, by the way. China government loves to fund large corporations. And not only is he personally going to get 20% of the shares, but there's a proposal. Now, look, this is just a proposal. This isn't a smoking gun. Like, we don't know that this happened. Maybe someone wrote back and said, this is completely unethical. How dare you suggest? I don't know. But we've got this 10% held by Hunter for his dad. That's not nothing. It's not don't bother investigating, fake news. That's a real story that a real journalist might try and look through. So let's see what real journalists are saying about this.
Real journalists.
Real journalists like the people at CNN. Here we go. Would you like to see the people at CNN?
We can't say that with a straight face. Real journalists like at CNN.
Like the people at CNN. Here's what they say. U.S. authorities investigating if... Oh, sorry, wrong one. Where's my... Oh, here it is. CNN Business. Look at that. We've got our favorite guy, his face right there. Okay. The anatomy of the New York Post's dubious Hunter Biden story. Oh, right in the headline they're telling us what to think about it. That's nice. I didn't want to I didn't want to have to make the judgment myself whether I was doubting it. Thank you for telling me it is doubtful objectively, CNN. Let's see. Last week, the New York Post published a dubious story about Hunter Biden, the son of Democratic presidential nominee and former Vice President Joe Biden. Oh, okay, so the lead here is basically, let's throw some stank on the New York Post. Then they're dubious stories.
Again, how are you, if you're on the left and you're ensconced in this echo chamber of propaganda like I used to be, doesn't it at least give you pause that they're telling you what to think, not just in the article, but in the headline too?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it make you stop for a second and question why they're doing that? Okay, go ahead.
I don't know. It might. I guess not. The Post story claims Hunter Biden. By the way, it's not the story that claims. The Post story referred to a hard drive full of evidence, including emails that show that Hunter Biden, blah, 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 blah. That's how you might report this. You might say alleged emails, but you wouldn't just say the story claimed. That just makes it sound like they're reporting like you do and just make shit up. But that's not what they're doing. They were referencing an actual hard drive and emails that they received. Okay. Helped arrange a meeting, blah, blah, blah. We talked about that. Okay. As CNN's media chief correspondent, Brian Stetler. Oh, Brian's going to comment because Brian knows. He shared on reliable sources, "We're not talking about fully reliable sources here," referring to the New York Post story. Oh, so there's some shade. You know what I don't see? Actual arguments. I see a lot of shade so far.
Not fully reliable, like what? Like you? Like Brian Stelter at CNN?
The closest thing they have to an argument is the series of stories contained hacked materials and personal email addresses. But that's not an argument against the veracity of them. This is really just cover for Twitter. So Twitter initially prevented people from posting. Oh yes, Twitter, completely above board. Twitter did a very rational thing and prevented them. Just like Twitter always does with anything that might have hacked materials. Just like they did with the Steele dossier or Trump's taxes. Of course, they prevented people from seeing it. Look how upstanding Twitter is. So they're providing a little cover. This is their bone to Twitter. Okay. So Brian tells us, hey, these aren't reliable sources. So far, how many paragraphs? We're third paragraph in, no actual information. Yet the story behind the story is a familiar one. Uh-oh, here we go. Are we going to resurrect Marussia? Let's see if Marussia is to blame. The Post said it was tipped off to the story by a former Trump administration staffer and former head of Breitbart, Steve Bannon. Oh, well, there's a genetic fallacy involved, so let's keep reading. A hard drive containing the emails was supplied by former New York mayor and Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani, according to the Post. Giuliani, incidentally, has openly coordinated with a known Russian agent to promote disinformation about the Bidens.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so now we have some more genetic fallacy. Excellent. A former producer for Sean Hannity's Fox News show co-wrote some of the stories. Oh, another genetic fallacy. Wow, you guys over at CNN are literal eugenicists. Giuliani then went on Fox News to discuss the story, and Donald Trump has been tweeting and discussing it for days. CNN hasn't been able to authenticate the emails, and the New York Post declined to comment. Yeah, because you guys are not doing real reporting. They told you to fuck off because you're a bunch of hacks. You haven't been able to authenticate the emails. Yeah, well, until you can authenticate them, Brian. All right. Quote, "This is a classic example of the right-wing media machine," Stetler said.
Oh.
I didn't know the right-wing media machine was a classic anything, but apparently this is a classic example of it. It's a thing.
So actual
projecting
again, they haven't done. They're projecting because they are currently a left-wing media machine. But honestly, CNN's also. It's not just left-wing. They're basically a war pushing anything that sells. They pushed the Iraq War on us too, and they were totally supporting Bush and Cheney and all that stuff. You know, it's whatever is going to sell at the time. But currently, they're
kind of like this. They want you to stay mad and stay tuned. Is that what you mean, Carrie? Kind of like that?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. All right. Okay, here we go. This story is a manufactured scandal, Stetler said. She's literally reporting on Stetler's opinion. This is CNN business. Hey, Alexis, do some fucking reporting, bitch. She's reporting on his. I'm sorry, I called her a bitch. I know.
Hey,
God.
hey.
You have a platform. You have a platform for people. This is your reporting? What, genetic fallacy, genetic fallacy, genetic fallacy, Brian Stetler said? That's your story? God, that's your anatomy? Anatomy of the New York Post Hunter Biden story. Okay. God. All right. The strategy to deflect attention back to the opponent. So, okay. Benkler noted, sorry, they now talk to a Harvard dude. Benkler noted that when Hillary Clinton's emails and the FBI investigation into her handling of classified information that ultimately led to recommended no charges, Clinton's foundation became the subject of right-wing media talking points. So what they're saying is, just like Hillary's emails, you shouldn't have looked at and were bullcrap. The right-wing media is trying for the same strategy again as election day grows closer. So here's their argument. Hillary Clinton she committed so many crimes, I cannot count them. I would have been, okay, Keith the Hack Guy in chat can back me up on this. You and I, Keith, we would have been fired and very likely jailed if we did 1/10 of what Hillary did with her emails. We had government clearances. If we did a tiny bit of that, our asses would have been grass. We would have been in jail. You do not do that. She set up a server in her bathroom, in her house. She had official emails going to a server that she controlled. To this day, her employer, the United States government, i.e. you, do not have access to emails that went back and forth to the Secretary of State because she controlled the server. What she did is hands down a criminal offense. The fact that the FBI wiped their hands of it and said, don't worry about it, does not exonerate her. However, CNN's now using that exoneration to say, this is just a tactic from the right, trying to make a big deal. They're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. Nothing pisses me off more than Hillary. Sorry, that whole situation. Okay, so let's go on. So they're trying to do the same thing. And here's the smoking gun, Carrie. This is how they do their anatomy and their investigating. Alexis, here's your chance. This is your big heavy guns are coming in, Alexis. Here you go. What's your big smoking gun? I asked the Biden campaign and they said no. Yay, Alexis! You're so smart, sweetheart. What a great reporter you are. You called Biden. The details of the story have been denied by a credible former Biden staffer in the Biden campaign.
Oh, got it.
Okay,
this is
good job. Good job.
This reminds me of in Hoaxed when Cernovich shows how when he went on 60 Minutes and they went, of course, they had an angle and they were trying to do a hit piece on him and he went and he recorded all of it himself. But they said, during the election, you spread conspiracy theories that when Hillary Clinton fainted, that it wasn't because she had the flu. It was because she had some other, medical issue. You were spreading things you couldn't know to be true. And then Cernovich asked him, well, who did you talk to verify that she had the flu? And they actually said, 60 Minutes guy actually said, well, the Clinton campaign, they told she had the flu. It's like, why would you trust the Clinton campaign?
Right.
Why?
Right. So this whole thing.
You're supposed to be a journalist.
Right. So Alexis's idea of debunking this, by the way, now that this story has been in CNN, everyone else is going to say, well, it's been debunked. It's been debunked. CNN debunked it because Alexis cited a credible anonymous former staffer who claims that the meeting didn't have a staffer for Biden.
They used to be, the media has gotten a lot worse with this. They used to, like that whole hit piece they did on Trump that they repeated everywhere ad nauseum about how he called troop suckers and losers. I finally looked into that. There wasn't one named source, not one. And they used to be better about, yeah, they would protect anonymity if there was real cause for needing that protection. Now they just they use that as an excuse to run anything, any gossip, anything that's not credible that they want to run. They just say anonymous source. They just say anonymous source. And yeah.
This is pathetic. This whole story is pathetic. And the last little bit I'm going to show you, it's the last half of that sentence, and it's important because we're going to show you they're bringing back their favorite. And U.S. authorities are investigating whether the emails are part of an ongoing Russia disinformation effort. So now their whole narrative... Oh, by the way, around that, I just want to say something here. Let's see. Hold on. Where is it? I know I'm clicking around here. I got to show you the... Where is it? I can't find it. But the director of national intelligence has said that's not... they don't think there's any evidence that that Russia's involved in this. But what they're going to do now is they're going to parade around Russia. They're going to say... And you can hear this from the mainstream media. There's a massive Russian disinformation campaign. They are obsessed with Russian disinformation in, quote, election interference. And you know what? Maybe Russia has a candidate. By the way, someone said no more coffee this afternoon. I didn't have any coffee. I worked out this morning though, so I'm like, usually I work out in the afternoons. I worked out before the show.
That's natural adrenaline. You worked out.
Yeah.
Somebody said Rachel Maddow is the anonymous source.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like that. And also, this is not a super chat, but Owen said, this is absolutely what they do. Owen May says, "Do you think your establishment is a crook? Well, listen to how the establishment tells you it's not a crook."
Exactly. Charles Manson said he wasn't involved in the murder. Oh.
Well, we asked Charles Manson, and he said he didn't do it.
Yeah, he didn't write it in his calendar that day. He didn't have murder written in his calendar. All right. Our job's done. We're reporters. Give us a cookie. God, I don't... How do these people take themselves seriously? How do you get up in the morning? I mean, I'm ridiculous. I don't take myself seriously sometimes, and I get up in the morning and look at myself, and I'm like, okay, you're ridiculous. But at least I'm trying to be serious. I'm trying to, like, make the world a better place. I don't know how this person gets up in the morning and, like, looks herself in the mirror, and she's like, I'm a reporter.
I do reporting. It's like the fact checkers that... Jimmy Dore did a video where he pointed out one of these fact checkers at Snopes who was telling these outright lies. Again, mass manipulation of people. And Snopes is fully on board now. And he looked at one of Snopes' quote unquote fact checkers, and she's this millennial who just graduated. And he's like, "How do you become a fact checker?" "Well, I put it in my bio on Twitter." Like, how do you get to become a fact checker? Well, you just put it in your bio.
You start by lying in your bio on Twitter. That's how you become a fact checker, obviously.
I'm a fact checker. Look at me. I should put it in we should just put it in our bios that we should just put in the unsafe space Twitter, fact checking organization.
Yeah. Fact checker.
I think we're better at it than they are.
Fact checker. Okay. I'm going to put fact checker / anonymous source.
Anonymous. We will be your anonymous source and your fact checker. We'll put it in our
all
Twitter
in one.
bio.
Yeah, that's our new business. We gotta stop what we're doing. We're gonna switch to that business.
We will. You can also hire us to teach your workplace mandated diversity, inclusion, and equity training.
Yeah. It's just so ridiculous.